Hi, everyone. Welcome to another night of Late Nights with Lenin. And it seems like we have a lot of people today, which is fun. So, welcome. We're going to later show our interview and reading with Sal from the Red Army. But first things first, let's see. Today, Che Guevara was killed. So I have a quick montage of one of my favorite speeches of his, which talks about the bestiality of imperialism.
Como bestias son los norteamericanos hoy, que no tiene una frontera determinada ni pertenece a un país determinado. Bestias fueron las hordas hitleristas, como bestias son los norteamericanos hoy, como bestias son los paracaidistas belgas, como bestias fueron los imperialistas franceses en Argelia. Porque es la naturaleza del imperialismo la que bestializa a los hombres, la que la convierte en fieras sedientas de sangre que están dispuestas a degollar, a asesinar, a destruir hasta la última imagen de un revolucionario, de un partidario de un régimen que haya caído bajo su bota o que luche por su libertad. Y la estatua que recuerda a Lumumba, hoy destruida pero mañana reconstruida, nos recuerda también en la historia trágica de ese mártir de la revolución del mundo, que no se puede confiar en el imperialismo, pero ni tantito así, nada.
Janet's off tonight, so expect these things to happen way more often because I have ADHD. Thank you so much, Captain Waffles. And no, I'm sorry if I trolled you. I don't know what I'm talking about. So somebody asked, was Che the most handsome communist? We're going to have to wait until the end where I will create my montage and you guys can vote on it. So let's see. Okay. So the first thing is that we may be trying a new potential extension to Late Nights with Lenin. On Monday, Comrade Zoo will be joining us for perhaps Monday mornings with... No, it's not Monday mornings yet. It's this Monday morning with Mao, where we learn a little bit about Mao Zedong thought. He thought that people in the West would benefit more from Mao Zedong thought because Mao was more... I don't know. There are some things that Mao explains in a more basic point of view. And Mao is not a big troll like Lenin, so he doesn't kind of waste his time veering off to throw spurless insults at Kautsky or something. So this Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern time, 4 p.m. Zagreb time, come and we'll see. And if we get enough interest, we might make it more than one episode. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Time, Midwestern Marxist and I will be collaborating in order to troll anarchists. There are some anarchists who are very funny and say really bad and dumb things like, what do we do after the revolution? And I'm like, probably 35 years of fascism under Franco. But that's another point, and we'll talk a little bit about what's wrong with Western anarchists. By the way, yesterday I released a new article called "The Authoritarian Myth," where I try to give people a theoretical framework for what the word authoritarianism is. And yes, please follow the Red Army on Twitch, TikTok, Twitter. If they're on TikTok, I don't know if are they. They're gonna do what I'm doing, but they're gonna go further. Like they're gonna be going deep into lots of good theory and stuff like that. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna put this piece down here. It's really cringe. And it's 42 pages long, so I'm probably not going to read all of it because it's 42 bloody pages long. But let's see. There is this. Okay, by the way, after the revolution, we are also banning Twitch because of this. But I will be just addressing one or two points from what's his name, who he wrote 42 pages like of a ranty screed against Luna Oi, which is nuts. But let me just address the first ridiculous thing. So he starts with some random crybaby stuff. The debate over American patriotism. So he says, let's see, where does he say? Okay, we're just going to go to the third paragraph because all this is crybaby nonsense. When confronted with the controversy from Latin America to China and Eastern Europe, were quite aghast that it could even be controversial that communists by default must be patriots. Some were confused and thought that perhaps patriotism was being opportunistically as a cover for some kind of apology for American imperialism. And then he goes on to make a word, while remaining fervently anti-imperialist and showing solidarity with all international elements resisting U.S. imperialism, must also be patriots who possess the love of country and people. And they were extremely confused that this was being met by hostility. That's a lie. Okay, so the reason why, hi, Greg B. from Canada. I don't know who, yeah, whatever, yes. Welcome. So what is going on is, that it's like they are misunderstanding cause and effect. So most of U.S. history is taught to you in the most boring manner because it really must, if anyone were to really listen to American history, there is really only one position to be had. And they don't want literal teenagers to be like rising up and taking arms against the country. So that's why in the US history, they say some vagueness against the Zimmerman telegram as to why World War I started as opposed to what it is. So the thing is that if you were to actually read American history and understood everything that America has stood for, and you're not a sociopath, there's literally only one non-sociopathic path. For example, in the US, in the Philippines in 1898, ordered that every male over the age of 10 should be killed, and then they ended up killing everyone over the age of 10. In fact, one of my favorite stories is of this Black soldier named Captain David Fagan, who I don't think he was a captain in the U.S. military. Maybe he was. I can't remember. But he was like, I refuse to kill everyone. And then he defected and joined the Filipinos. And then, so we have that story. The other, let's see, in World War, well, we can, a lot of World War I is just disgusting. Okay, so we can go through the Russian, I forgot, the way they enslaved, in 1914, they went to Haiti and killed like 2,000 people in the most brutal way, in order to protect the markets from German markets. And then they did that in Cuba. And then they started a race war in both Cuba and Haiti. And then, I mean, it's just one orgy of disgusting mass murder after another. In Guatemala, they exterminated 626 villages. In El Salvador, they did the El Mozote massacre. In Indonesia, they killed over 1 million people. We still find mass graves, and then they put Suharto in power. Vietnam, Cambodia, they killed everything that moves. So when you know about all this, it's going to be pretty hard to be patriotic for this country. I mean, so people who are advocating for proletarian patriotism are confusing cause and effect. The reason why people were patriotic towards the USSR or democratic Afghanistan or Vietnam is because those countries vastly improved their lives. Imagine if you were a child laborer who was working in a mine, and then nobody in your family had learned how to read, but then you eradicated illiteracy. So they literally are confusing cause and... What do you mean I am talking to a camera and we are not watching? You are definitely watching. Don't be ridiculous. I know. Oh, feel free to, because Janet's not here, please be liberal with the blocks and mutes, because you don't want to see me distracted. Okay, so, yeah, so I forgot what I was, okay. No, you're not looking at my, okay, I won't do this. I don't have a side camera. Oh, you see the wrong camera. Got it. Oh. Okay. Okay, this is why we need Janet. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is what happens, is that I end up not hooking up the right camera, and you see my side camera instead of my front camera. Sorry about that. Okay, so no, I have a ಹತ್ತು ಒಂದ ಸಾವಿರ 917. Okay. Sorry. Okay. That just. Okay. So. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So see, this camera is the actual new camera. Long story. It's my sister got this camera from from Facebook, because she had to do something, and then she gave me this camera. So this is the nice professional camera that I was supposed to hook up and actually plug in. But since Janet wasn't here to make sure that I've actually plugged it in, I forgot to plug that in. And now I have my webcam, which is not as nice as that camera that I was just staring out at. Not stolen, he gave it, long story. But that was the, sorry. Okay. After we load up the thing, okay. So I forgot what. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. But we were talking about American patriotism. So once you know what America stands for and what America as a country has done, it's pretty hard to be patriotic for something so cruel. Like in just looking at all the rapey warlords they put in Afghanistan. Yeah, so they are confusing cause and effect. So nobody was patriotic towards Tsarist Russia. Look at Lenin. Was he patriotic towards Tsarist Russia? No, he wasn't. He said that you needed, it's pretty hard to love Tsarist Russia unless you're the Tsar. But then the patriotism grew when the country started to deserve their patriotism. So that's the entire problem. They think that they have an imagination, like they're fighting their imagination because they have this idea of the American alleged proletariat because they actually have not spent time with the proletariat. I don't know what they have, but they imagine crap. And actually, the fake patriotism is definitely an upper bourgeoisie thing. And also think about it logically. Like if you're in for like massive, like what incentive would you have for massive change if status quo, if the country's status quo made you love it? You don't. And so it's so ridiculous. So this is the straw man that Haas did. Let me see if there's anything else that, he talks, okay, this one's another funny part. He said, since Luna is a primarily American audience, such an exchange is obviously unequal. She has entered the American left and non-compete has not entered the Vietnamese left. I'm just going to say that, hi, Gani. Yeah, it's pretty hard for non-compete to compete with Ho Chi Minh is all I'm saying. And they kind of won the whole war and created an actual country. So it's ridiculous. Who cares what Luna's audience is? He can't address the points on the merits because his point is stupid. And so then would victims now of U.S. not be relieved when Americans decided to focus on their own country? No. The problem is he literally does not. Yeah. Exactly. Bingo. Anyways, so this is really, really, really stupid. So I just did it because it is I don't know what to say besides it's really stupid and it's a straw man and none of them have actually spoken to a working class white person because they've had, if you go to West Virginia, they don't feel all that patriotic over a country that turns their water into purple mush. So yeah, it's kind of silly. Let's see, do we have anything else to address before we start watching the episode with Sal where we rage at anti-literate people, liberals, just people who refuse to read? Do we have anything else? Let's see. Oh yeah, Lenin mentions this too, where pragmatic politics is the least pragmatic of all because it's under the idea that little steps are easier to take than big steps. But for example, let's think about this. If there was a World Cup soccer match in your town, you're far more likely to go watch it than Junior League soccer. Even though Junior League is easier to go to, much easier to get tickets to, and it's free and it's cheaper and you get better seats, you're still much less unless you're like parent of a kid who's in Junior League, you are much less likely to go watch that soccer match than having a World Cup match in your town. It's what you think instinctively as being easier is not always easier. So with that, this interview is about really long time, but we read some fun stuff and we make fun of a lot of liberals. So hope you enjoy, and I'll be back with the proper camera at the end of the interview, and I'll make a note of your questions and stuff like that. So today we have Sal, and just before she came on, Janet did the usual warning about how I laugh a lot with when Lenin's around, and I'm not laughing at the guest. So it's kind of funny because I think I understand Lenin really well, because I swear he has ADHD too. So we can make these like weird connect. Like I understand what he's connecting what to, and I understand what makes it laugh. So I wonder if people who don't have ADHD feel out of the loop because of this. What do you think, Sal?
I don't know. I really find Lenin quite funny too. Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay. So let's see. We both are okay. Oh my God. Let's do a little impromptu skit. Okay. You tell me to read theory and I'll be a liberal. Or do you want to be the liberal?
I'll be the communist.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that you probably should check out this book, because what you're saying is just historically inaccurate.
Don't be ableist. And don't be classist by asking me to read.
Oh boy, have I been experiencing that lately. That's fun.
Yeah, and then
you're reading like 10,000 tweets a day. Like, just pick up like a book.
And I'm like, okay, the Bolsheviks did not know how to read. They learned how to read by reading Marx, so it can't be that hard. There was this Harvard professor who also writes for Jacobin, and he was like, when Marx is complicated, I'm like, okay, I just kind of had to show them. It was actually like a section from this book, The History of the CPSU, where we literally learn that people learned how to read using Marx. So it can't be that hard.
That's incredible. And also, Marx is written for the working class. You know, it's supposed to be able to be digestible to everyone, right? Because if you don't understand what's in this book, you know, you may not fight with us. Right. So
exactly.
They have to be able to.
Then I understand that Marx can sometimes be a little wordy, and he's not.
Insofar as, and Marx
is better in his original German. I can understand.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I always tell people, okay, whatever Marx has said, both Engels and Lenin have said it better and funnier. You do Engels and Lenin or Marx. You know what I mean?
Engels is one of my special favorite people.
I love him.
I feel like he's not really as well known. I don't know, like people don't read him as often.
Well, okay, this is what happened. It was the anti-Semites' fault because, by the way, Sal, do you have a hard limit on when you have to go?
No, I'm good. I'm chilling.
So it was the anti-Semites' fault. They wanted to tie in Marxism with Jews. So they were like, Jewism, Jew. And so that's why they kind of dropped Engels, because he was he was a Protestant, I believe, or whatever. But Marx, like, they brought up his like, so it was like actually like the reason why it's called Marxism and not something else is because of anti-Semite smear.
Goddamn.
Yeah. But
I actually have on my Twitter right now, I call myself an Engelsist Leninist.
Yeah, I love Engels' like Conditions of the Working Class is hilarious. I love his oh my God, he wrote an entire book trolling this dude called Doring.
I haven't read it. Is it hilarious?
Yeah, it's called anti-Druringism.
That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that down.
I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
But yeah. So, okay, what's this? Okay. So we did the first liberal skit. Do you want to be the liberal this time?
Okay, I'll be the liberal.
Okay. Hey, okay, what you said, it has been discredited for over 100 years. Maybe you should try reading this book here called Conditions of the Working Class in 1845.
I could read your book, but on paper, communism is great. But in practice, it just doesn't work. Write it.
What do you mean it doesn't work? You need to ask for whom it works for. And so if you look at how bad Tsarist Russia was, the literacy rate was less than 12%. And then within just a handful of years, they just cured illiteracy. They also eradicated smallpox.
They went to space. Yeah. Are
you still a liberal or are you?
No, I went back to communism. So sorry. Okay, I just can't do it. It's terrible.
Okay. Fine. I'll be the liberal. Okay. So if we elect 400 AOCs and then we'll get Medicare for all.
At that point, I would block you. I'm sorry.
At that point, I give Janet. Can you show them the SPD's? What I do is I show this section of what the SPD did, the Socialist Party Deutschland, maybe, I don't know, I forgot. But you'll see that they sung Deutschland über alles while they went to vote for Hitler. So that's yeah. And
okay.
Yeah, that actually burns them so much. Okay. I'll be okay. So you be the communist. You tell me to read theory, and I'll be the liberal.
Okay. What's another one that I've heard?
No. I'm the liberal. You're the communist because you said you can't do it. The liberal.
It just pains me, but yeah. Okay.
So I'm the liberal now. So just tell me to read theory, and okay.
You should read theory. You should read theory.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's more important to tell people to have practice. So that's why I go and tell people that the U.S. has sovereign debt and it's not monetarily sovereign. And then I also tell people that Bush is awesome.
Oh, God. Bush is not.
I know. But for me, that's okay. The problem
people say this to you?
Yeah. Not Bush is awesome, but they're it's more important. Instead of you can't just sit in a room reading theory. You have to go talk to people. And I'm okay, if you're going to go talk to people, you should.
What are you talking to people about?
Yeah. You have to be accurate at what you talk to people. You can't talk to people about stupid. We can't talk to people with bullshit. So, that's or for that, I'm just okay, in order to talk to people, you have to be accurate about what you talk to people about. So you won't know what to talk to people about. It's
I've had non-theory reading anarchists who do Antifa work on the ground tell me that how dare I talk to people about communism while I work in my community. I was telling them, that we're trying to raise class consciousness. And she's you don't talk to these people about that. They're hurting. They don't want to hear about that. And I'm okay,
what?
This is about their liberation. What the fuck are you talking about? Exactly. This is the time. These are the people that need to know, hey, you're not completely fucked. We can move past this. And here's how, that's what I do in my community.
Done.
Right. And yeah, she was just I can't believe you're so pretentious, some missionary trying to sell your God. And I'm what the fuck?
Exactly, because that's the catch-22 is that because so if you're a liberal, all liberal ideas have an expiration date about 2 years. So that's the reason why you can't read 100-year-old liberal literature, because it will have all sorts of eugenics crap with racism and stuff like that. But you can read Lenin because Lenin does not have that, and we don't really feel the need to do new literature because Lenin has said everything that needs to be said.
We haven't progressed, right, past the problems we're experiencing, like that he experienced.
Exactly, and it's like but it's like, and plus, like, because Lenin's ideas aren't getting outdated because he's right. There's no reason like we need to just keep writing nonsense. So for liberals, Mao actually talks about this. For liberals, their theory is just like hierarchy justifying nonsense, total nonsense to justify a status quo. They don't realize that Lenin actually tried to hack the system. So he actually had to super understand how the system worked. So his theory is not BS. It's literally reality transcribed in word form.
Yeah, it's a material analysis of like the situation.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes you literally have to change the word cadet to Democratic Party, and then everything literally still applies. Nothing like sometimes you don't even have to change that. Like if you check out our Twitter account, Lenin_tweets, you'll see it's literally. You'd be surprised at how little we have to change things to make Lenin relevant.
Well, right. Like the thing that I'm always like, you'll see me post to people. It's the very first paragraph of State and Revolution about, them blunting the revolutionary edge of Marxists.
Oh yeah, turning Marx into. He also did that in the first chapter of. Okay, so Lenin. This is another reason why I think Lenin has ADHD. The hyper focus, for example, he got really obsessed about Kautsky to the point where he wrote like 4
and Rabochet de Leo.
Yeah. Well, 4 books against Kautsky, and then even on his 50th birthday, he took like a snipe at Kautsky. So
happy birthday!
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Lenin.
I haven't eaten because I have ADHD medicine. I haven't eaten a single thing all day, so please forgive me.
Oh no, definitely eat. No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You were actually mentioning how you think Lenin has ADHD because he gets
hyper focusing on Kautsky. Yeah.
Yes, he was hyper. Okay, so he has that. The impulsivity. The fact that he wrote like 2 letters to some random dude in the Urals about some pharmacists by returning the pharmacist's bicycle when he was the leader of the country. And then that's not the only one. And then like there's another letter where he wrote to one Ivanov in the village between the Caucasus and the Urals, and he asked him to return the station master's table that he borrowed. So like that sounds like an impulsivity thing where you're not really thinking about like, okay, maybe during World War I should not be writing letters to random like about trivial stuff.
That is really funny.
Yeah, I can show you the I translated those 2 letters for my Russian class because it was so hilarious that and then somebody on TikTok asked me how did the pharmacist get his bicycle, and I had to say, unfortunately, there's no record. History doesn't tell us if the pharmacist in the pharmacist in Zlobotin, I think.
That's really cool. That is so interesting.
Well, then that's the funny thing is that Lenin's personality quirks like have endless comedy. I was just reading another story. It was about this worker who met Lenin in 1892. And Lenin's like, oh, look, I have this book for you. And the book was written in German. And the worker was like, I don't read German. I barely read Russian. And he's like, okay, in that case, we'll read it in Russian. And Lenin basically was like, read it in German, but recited it in Russian. And it took like 2 hours. It was a book about trusts and cartels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you find this story?
It's called Vas. Okay, so there's a series from the Soviet Union called Vоспоминаю Ленина, as in we remember Lenin. And so a lot of people who had encounters with Lenin kind of wrote little stories about their encounters with Lenin, and that's where I found it. This was written by some guy named Shelgulnov.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm taking Russian class. I don't know if there's an English translation, but yeah.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. They actually have a really good system for teaching Russian, I think. And my teacher is really, really good. And he has a really good heart. I can tell, like he's like a super nice guy. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. I only know a little bit of Spanish and I've kind of forgotten it.
Well, time to learn again. I always say you have to learn a foreign language from an enemy country, because half the time, like today, oh God, I went through the worst thing in the world. Dylan Burns and Vosh opined about Belarus today. Oh my God. But
Dylan Burns they're both like just so terrible.
I actually don't exactly know who Dylan Burns is, except once he told me about maybe Taiwan or Hong Kong. I can't remember.
He's on a Taiwan kick right now. So probably that.
Okay. So I'm not 100% sure who he is, but my God, he sucks.
Just a
he
Twitch
was literally
debate,
reading out of Wikipedia, like his article, like his Oh wow. You know him?
Oh yeah. They their sources are Wikipedia. Like, oh my gosh, Dylan Burns. He's a political consultant and was a former foreign policy advisor to like some low-level politicians.
Dylan Burns?
Yeah, Dylan Burns, yeah.
Oh my God, okay. So he's not even a leftist. He's like a straight up Washington centrist.
He's a neoliberal. Like, yeah.
Wow.
And he does this like debate show on Twitch called the Hippy Dippy Podcast or some.
Why would anyone watch? How could he have 44,000 followers and why does anyone watch him?
Because his stuff is like just like Vosh's, like that's why they kind of go together.
Vosh force feeds the algorithm because he has wealthy parents.
I feel like he's also funded by the CIA, like kind of like a Jackson Pollock type thing where they like funded modern art.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they are funding like these terrible fucking debate bros.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if Vosh is funded by the CIA, but it doesn't make a goddamn difference because he never disagrees with the CIA.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like if he's either funded by the CIA or he cucks for the CIA, and I don't know which is worse.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't even matter because he does their bidding, so.
If he's like not funded by the CIA, he's cucking for the CIA, which is worse.
Do you know that he tried to fucking use, what is it? Hold on. Let me see. He tried to use left-wing communism and infantile disorder to say that everyone should vote for Joe Biden.
No, Lenin.
Because Lenin and Mao would have done that. That's what he said.
No, Lenin and Mao would have stormed the White House.
Yeah, so that's painful.
Oh my God. Do you have that clip? Can you send it to Janet just so that we can put this up and so we can mock this?
Wait, which clip?
The one where you said he read Lenin?
Was it a tweet? Because I remember that the Lenin would have voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it's a tweet. I can find it.
Okay. No, because Lenin would have stormed the White House and done a revolution. It's like, why can't you even vent it? Like, you know what I mean? Like they really don't understand Lenin if they think he would have voted for Biden.
Well, should we participate in bourgeois elections? That was about like a specific material conditions existed during that time, like the Communist Party was a real thing. In the United States, we don't have a fucking Communist Party that is.
But
like anything able to engage, like it's not big. It doesn't have like any,
Hold on.
Oh,
okay. Let me just read this. Left wing okay. Actually,
there's a section.
Okay, let's just read that. Okay, fine. Okay, let's read that section for. Should we participate in bourgeoisie? Okay, where is it? Yes, I see it now. Okay, Janet, I'll text it to you and we'll read this. Okay.
It is with the utmost contempt and the utmost levity that the German left communist reply to this question in the negative. Their arguments in the passage quoted above, we read, all reversions to parliamentary forms of struggle which have become historically and politically obsolete must be emphatically rejected.
Okay, slow down. So basically, Lenin is saying utilize all methods, and the German left communists want to take on the Freikorps without weaponry. Like, that's literally what they were suggesting, that Lenin's like, are you nuts? Because remember, the Spartacus revolution had just failed and all the communists were just killed. A lot of them were killed, and the Freikorps, which is the right wingers, they were just amping up arms. So Lenin's like, this is nuts. You can't just like take on the Freikorps without weaponry, without an army. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to read?
Yeah.
This is said with ridiculous pretentiousness and is patently wrong. Reversion to parliamentarianism, forsooth. Perhaps there is already a Soviet Republic in Germany. It does not look like it. How then can one speak of reversion? Is this not an empty phrase?
Yes. Okay. And same thing when Westerners accuse people of being revisionists. There's nothing to revise here. Go.
Parliamentarianism has become historically obsolete. That is true in the propaganda sense. However, everybody knows that this is still a far cry from overcoming it in practice. Capitalism could have been declared, and with full justice, to be historically obsolete many decades ago. But that does not at all remove the need for a very long and very persistent struggle on the basis of capitalism.
Very long one.
Parliamentarianism is historically obsolete from the standpoint of world history, i.e., the era of bourgeois parliamentarianism is over, and the era of proletarian dictatorship has begun. Okay, so Lenin is still right. Okay. That is incontestable. But world history is counted in decades. 10 or 20 years earlier or later makes no difference when measured with the yardstick of world history.
Or centuries, yes.
From the standpoint of world history, it is a trifle that can be considered even approximately, or cannot be considered even approximately. But for that very reason, it is a glaring theoretical error to apply the yardstick of world history to practical politics.
Bingo.
So they're saying it's like,
okay, so like I said, the historical situation is that in 1918 in Germany, the Spartacus Revolution failed. The Freikorps won, and they had a right wing, like they had a capitalistic bourgeoisie dictatorship. Bourgeoisie liberal democracy, if you could call it that, for a little while with the Weimar Republic. So during this time, the communists who were not killed, so probably the ones who were left over who really sucked, thought that they should not engage in parliamentarianism, but they should just kind of engage in war with the Freikorps. And Lenin's like, this is nuts. Don't do that. You don't have enough to win this war with the Freikorps.
Okay. Is parliamentarianism politically obsolete? That is quite a different matter. If that were true, the positions of the lefts would be a strong one.
Yep.
but it has been to be proved by a most searching analysis. And the lefts do not even know how to approach that matter.
Oh my God, this is how I feel whenever I talk to every single American. I'm like, okay, you don't even know how to analyze. I just said this like, oh my God. Yes. Okay.
In the thesis on parliamentarianism published in the Bulletin of the Provisional Bureau in Amsterdam of the Communist International, number one, February 1920, and obviously expressing the Dutch left or left Dutch strivings. The analysis, as we shall see.
Why did he do Dutch left or left Dutch?
is also hopelessly poor.
Okay. I'm going to have to. Okay. Can you just give me a second to check on the Russian on this one? Because I don't understand like what the difference between Dutch left in English. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. But possessive, like, okay. Let's see. Found it. Okay. That was so easy to find. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so he said, he does says Galandeskaya lieva ili lieva Galandeskaya. Yeah, he literally say, he does say that. Okay, I don't know this one. Yeah.
So in the first place, contrary to the opinion of such outstanding political leaders as Rosa Luxemburg or Karl Liebknecht, how do we say that?
Leibniz. Okay, yeah, both of them were killed at the Spartacus, like by the Freikorps.
The German lefts, as we know, considered parliamentarianism politically obsolete even in January 1919. We know that the lefts were mistaken. This fact alone utterly destroys, at a single stroke, the proposition that parliamentarianism is politically obsolete. It is for the lefts to prove why their error, indisputable at that time, is no longer an error.
Yeah, because they got killed by the Freikorps. So that's why Lenin's like, okay, if you get killed by so they tried to do the Spartacus coup. They tried to like storm, kind of do what the Bolsheviks did, and they tried to storm whatever building there was, and they held it for about 3 weeks, and then the Freikorps just tore them down. So the Bolsheviks had the army, and like there was like just vastly different conditions that made that possible. And so Lenin's like, okay, the Spartacus people had the same thing where they decided to take state power because they realized that like they thought that was the moment was right. But then they were wrong because they were killed. They were shot. So it's up to you to explain why they were not, despite having so many people killed, why this was not an error, is what Lenin's saying.
Yeah, it seems like fucking error. Okay, where am I at? They do not and cannot produce even a shred of proof. A political party's attitude towards its own mistakes is one of the most important and surest ways of judging how earnest the party is and how it fulfills in practice its obligations towards its class and the working people. Okay,
let's highlight this again so that we understand this about the Democratic Party, every political party. A political party's attitude towards its own mistakes is one of the most important and truest ways of judging how earnest the party is and how it fulfills in practice its obligation towards its working class and the working people. Okay.
Right, which is what all of our
I just wanted to have people highlight
failing. That.
Yeah. So that people understand. Okay. Continue.
Frankly, acknowledging a mistake, ascertaining the reason for it, and analyzing the conditions that led up to it and thrashing out the meaning of its rectification. That is the hallmark of the serious party.
So no party in America is a serious party, correct?
Right. So like this whole thing came up because I said voting third party is not revolutionary. Like talking about the United States where it stands right now, you are not going to vote for any party here that is going to get us into communism, right? Nope. And, I got so much fucking pushback, and people were like, read this, and I'm reading this, and all it's saying is different material conditions. And I'm like, I can use this to actually prove you wrong. Right. So,
Yeah,
you know,
on top of that, have they seen what happens when the Green Party gets elected, like in the European Parliament? They turn into neoliberal parties, just like like they turn into sometimes even a worse version of the Democratic Party. The minute they get elected into the parliaments, then like the money gravy, because they don't subscribe to Marxist Leninism, the gravy train just keeps going. And boom, they turned out to be just the minute they one seat, and they will be just as bad as the Democratic Party, or worse.
Frankly, acknowledging a mistake, ascertaining, oh shit, did I already do that one?
Yeah.
Analyzing the conditions that led up to it, thrashing out the means of its rectification. Oh yeah, I already did. That is how it should perform its duties, and how it should educate and train its class and then the masses. By failing to fulfill this duty and give the utmost attention and consideration to the study of their patent errors, the left in Germany and in Holland have proved that they are not a party of class, but a circle, not a party of the masses, but a group of intellectuals and a few workers who ape the worst features of intellectualism.
In other words, a circle jerk.
Ah!
Yeah, Lenin's a little too kind to literally call it a circle jerk, but yeah.
But a circle, that's actually freaking hilarious. He probably just didn't know the term. If we taught him the term, he would totally.
Well, he's the first one to use mayonnaise as an insult, though.
Shut up. No way.
Yeah. Check out our episode where we read, what do you call it? In memory of Count Hayden Rumsfeld, and he calls Count Hayden Mayo.
Wait, I'm going to write that down. That is so funny.
Yeah, just watch our episode in memory of Count Hayden.
Okay.
Need more anarchists dunked on, Nazis ripped apart, and the libs' real intentions to be trotted out? Hit the like and subscribe buttons below, and then go over to historically.substack.com and check out our newsletter and podcasts.
Second.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Second, in the same pamphlet of the Frankfurt Group of Lefts, which we have already cited in detail, we read, the millions of workers who still follow the policy of the center, the Catholic Center Party, are counter-revolutionary. The rural proletarians provide the legions of counter-revolutionary troops.
Millions of workers. Okay, sorry. This is ridiculous. Because the reason why they joined the Catholic Center back then was because like the Catholic Church actually did some stuff like give them food and stuff once in a while, right?
Nice.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean but then there's a whole other and the rural proletarians do provide kind of yes, but the thing is that they did the same thing in Tsarist Russia, but Lenin got those people to turn their guns against the Tsar. That was the point, right? You will have people join the army, but the way Lenin made the revolution work is he got the army to turn their guns against the Tsar, right?
Do you think that we can get the army on our side?
Inshallah.
Yes, indeed. Everything goes to show that this statement is far too sweeping and exaggerated, but the basic fact set forth here is incontrovertible. And its acknowledgement by the lefts is particularly clear evidence of their mistake. Mm-hmm. How can one say that parliamentarianism is politically obsolete when millions and legions of proletarians are not only still in favor of parliamentarianism in general, but are downright counter-revolutionary? Yeah,
this is really hilarious because you can't really have a revolution if millions of because communism is the dictatorship of the proletarians. So if millions of proletarians are counter-revolutionary, you're not going to have a revolution, right? It's like the definition of communism is the dictatorship.
So we are like super fucked, and that sucks.
No, we're not. Just Don't worry, read it. We'll talk about this at the end. We're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I like jump all around here. Like this reading Lenin gives me so much like emotions.
It makes me so happy. Okay. If there's like, okay, so there's this like really funny Croatian video where this guy asks him if there's one person you could bring back from the dead, who would it be? And he's like, Stalina. And I'm like, no, Lenin. No, actually, I don't know. I don't care. Stalin, or who would you bring back? I'd bring back Lenin.
Yeah, let's go with Lenin.
Okay. Or Stalin. Okay, I don't know. Actually, let's ask the viewers in a poll. Do you think we should, if there's one person we can bring back from the dead, would it be Lenin or Stalin?
I love the meme of like Lenin like busting out of his glass.
Oh my God, when I was in Moscow, I went to see this. Oh, yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah. They won't let you see him for long. And then when you're like that, and then they're always watching for those psychos who are going to try to bust him out because he can't get exposed to air. So it's like they're like, that's the only place I felt spied upon, is because they're like, okay, these like, and every few years some psycho does try to, like, somebody does try to be like, wake up, Lenin, wake up. And so that's like the only thing they watch out for.
He does wake up though.
No, he will.
It is obvious that parliamentarianism in Germany is not yet politically obsolete. It is obvious that the lefts in Germany have mistaken their desire, their political ideological attitude for objective reality. They're just coping.
Yep, that's exactly what. Oh my God, this is a better word than cope. Okay, let's. I'm going to say this. Awesome.
Okay. That is the most dangerous mistake for revolutionaries to make.
Correct.
In Russia, where over a particularly long period and in particularly varied forms, the most brutal and savage yoke of Tsarism, did I say that right?
Tsarism.
Tsarism.
He's dead.
Produced revolutionaries of diverse shades, revolutionaries who displayed amazing devotion, enthusiasm, heroism, and willpower. In Russia, we have observed this mistake of the revolutionaries at very close quarters. We have studied it very attentively and have firsthand knowledge of it.
Hold on. This, I believe he's talking about his brother, Alexander Ulyanov, because his brother got hanged for trying to assassinate the Tsar. He was like a Narodnik. And for Lenin, like that, according to his wife's autobiography, like Nadezhda remembers, she says like Lenin became like, he was like 5, however old, he was like a little boy then, but then he saw that like as soon as his brother got arrested, the liberals like abandoned his mother. And so in order for his mother to go to the court date, there was no trains in Tsarist Russia where they lived, which is in Simborsk, or maybe Kazan. So she had to take a horse like 100 miles north all by herself. And Lenin could not find a single person to accompany her. And so that's like when he realized how useless liberals were. So, yeah.
That's an incredible story.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we can also see it especially clear in others. Mm-hmm. Parliamentarianism is, of course, politically obsolete to the communists in Germany, and that's the whole point, we must not regard what is obsolete to us as something as obsolete to a class, to the masses.
Exactly. So if like that makes someone, and yeah, that's why I tell people to always like canvass with the Democratic Party, but do Marxist canvassing and get their lists. The lists are important.
Here again, we find that the lefts do not know how to reason. They do not know how to act as the party of a class, as the party of the masses. You must not sink to the level of the masses, to the level of the backward strata of the class. That's incontestable. You must tell them the bitter truth. You are in duty bound to call their bourgeois democratic and parliamentary prejudices what they are, prejudices.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you must soberly follow the actual state of the class consciousness and preparedness of the entire class, not only of its communist vanguard and all of the working people, not only to the advance of their advanced elements.
Yeah. So, you're not going to have a revolution without an army to turn its guns against the Tsar.
Right.
And yeah, if millions of allegedly working people are that counter-revolutionary, Lenin's right. You're just not going to have a revolution.
Even if only a fairly large minority of the industrial workers, and not millions and legions, follow the lead of the Catholic clergy, and a similar minority of rural workers follow the landowners and kulaks, it undoubtedly...
I love, okay, so when you check out Lenin's notes, it's always in like 4 languages. So I bet you the German word for Großbauern is a German word for kulak. Okay.
It undoubtedly signifies that parliamentarianism in Germany has not yet politically outlived itself, that participation in parliamentary elections and in the struggle of parliamentary rostrum is obligatory on the party of the revolutionary proletariat, specifically for the purpose of educating the backward strata of its own class, and for the purpose of awakening and enlightening the undeveloped, downtrodden, and ignorant rural masses.
So notice that Lenin doesn't think much about voting, but the process of canvassing and trying to get votes to your candidate, like that process where you connect with people, that's what's important for the Revolutionary Party, is the process and not the, like, he doesn't care if you vote for Biden or not. Like, he wants you to get them ready for storming the White House. Yeah.
Whilst you lack the strength to do away with bourgeois parliaments and every other type of reactionary institution.
As in the army, like everything is from a barrel of a gun. So yes, that's what he means when they lack the strength.
You must work within them, because it is there that you will still find workers who are duped by the priests and stultified by the conditions of rural life. Otherwise, you risk turning into nothing but windbags. Third, the left communists have had a great deal to say in praise of us Bolsheviks. One sometimes feels like telling them to praise us less and try to get a better knowledge of the Bolsheviks' tactics.
Yes.
We took part in the elections and to the Constituent Assembly, the Russian bourgeois parliament in November 1917.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so just so you understand, so the Tsar, quote unquote, abdicated in February or March, depending on your calendar you like to use, and they put in this like Guaido, a bunch of Juan Guaidos in as the interim government of Russia. And then when they put them in as the interim government of Russia, they first said, okay, we're going to have a constituent assembly in 2 months. But they knew that the minute they had the constituent assembly, everyone's going to decide, no, okay, we're going to leave the war. And the British fracas, which is France, England, UK. I like saying this. Have you heard about this new acronym? It's fracas. It's FCUKUS.
No.
It stands for France, UK, US.
That's funny.
Yeah. And it's perfect.
For real.
Yeah, like it's tough. Anyways, with the fuckers would not let them leave the war because they were all controlled by the bourgeoisie. So then when the September Constituent Assembly was like all rigged, Lenin's like, okay, we're going to have to do the October Revolution. Okay, we're going to have to take state power because these people suck. But then because a lot of people, Russia was a big country and a lot of people were in rural areas, they still went on with the November Constituent Assembly like elections so that people kind of knew what the Bolsheviks were doing and why they should support the Bolsheviks. Okay, continue.
Were our tactics correct or not? If not, then this should be clearly stated and proved, for it is necessary in evolving the correct tactics for international communism. If they were correct, then certain conclusions must be drawn. Of course,
No, hold on. Did we, the Russian, not have more right than Western communists to consider parliamentarianism was politically obsolete in Russia? That's where we are.
Wait, where?
We are empty phrases.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, he mentioned September to November twice. We're at the first one.
Oh, okay. In September, November, through November 1917, did we, the Russian Bolsheviks, not have a more right than any Western communists to consider that parliamentarianism was politically obsolete in Russia? Of course we did. For the point is not whether bourgeois parliaments have existed for a long time or a short time, but how far the masses of the working people are prepared ideologically, politically, and practically to accept the Soviet system and to dissolve the bourgeois democratic parliament, or allow it to be dissolved. It is an absolutely incontestable and fully established historical fact that in September, November 1917, the urban working class and the soldiers and peasants of Russia were, because of the number of special conditions, exceptionally well prepared to accept the Soviet system and to disband the most democratic of bourgeois parliaments. Nevertheless, the Bolsheviks did not boycott the Constituent Assembly, but took part in the elections both before and after the proletariat conquered political power. That these elections yielded exceedingly valuable and to the proletariat highly useful political results has, I make bold to hope, been proved by me in the above mentioned article, which analyzes in detail the returns of the elections of the Constituent Assembly in Russia.
Well, so this is because the West was like arming all these psychos. And so the fact that the Bolsheviks like swept the Constituent Assembly was like, it helped the people like the Kolchaks and the Denikins and the Pilsudskis just realize, okay, we are not going to win this fight. Okay, I don't want to get my head chopped off like Kolchak did. Okay, let's just back up. That's what it helped them a lot in. Okay.
The conclusion which follows from this this is absolutely incontrovertible. It has been proved that far from causing harm to the revolutionary proletariat, participation in a bourgeois democratic parliament, even a few weeks before the victory of a Soviet republic and even after such a victory, actually helps the proletariat to prove to the backwards masses why such parliaments deserve to be done away with. It facilitates, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I said, yep. Go ahead.
It facilitates their successful dissolution and helps to make bourgeois parliamentarianism politically obsolete. To ignore this experience, while at the same time claiming affiliation to the Communist International, which must work out its tactics internationally, not as narrow or exclusively national tactics, but as international tactics, means committing a gross error and actually abandoning internationalism in deed while recognizing it in word.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, like, okay. So what Vosh does not understand is that, like, it's the process that's, like, way more important. Like, because it's not, like, in a bourgeoisie parliament, it's not like your vote matters, even though it's irresponsible for me to say this. Okay, I still don't understand what Dutch is code for. Like, he uses it twice and I don't get it. Okay.
It's like a thing that he's like referring to that we?
Yeah, I don't get what Dutch left. I mean, it's like something really funny or sarcastic, but I don't get what he's like actually referring to.
Now let us examine the Dutch left arguments in favor of the non-participation in Parliament. The following is in the text of thesis number 4.
I love it.
The most important above all are above mentioned Dutch thesis. When the capitalist system of production has broken down, society is in a state of revolution. Parliamentary action gradually loses importance as compared with the action of the masses themselves. When in these conditions, Parliament becomes the center and the organ of the counter-revolution, whilst, on the other hand, the laboring class builds up the instruments of its power in the Soviets. It may even prove necessary to abstain from all and any participation in parliamentary action.
Wow. Okay. This like makes absolutely no sense. Okay. Literally makes no sense. Okay.
What is your view on people like? Do you think that communists should try to run for office? Like, what do you think? Do you think that's a positive thing?
Oh, well, sure, whatever. I don't think it matters. What matters is connecting with the people and making them politically conscious and training them how to fight for their rights. So if you're like a single poor person, you're not trained how to fight for your rights. And that's why you need training. And that's why you need communists to reach them out. So how you reach out to them doesn't really matter. If it can be done through bourgeoisie elections, go for it. If it can be done using, I don't know, raves, whatever, do it in a way. I don't know.
Raves. Ash is going to raves. Let's go.
Yeah, I would totally do it, but I don't know. If I did, we would have had a revolution already. But since, but the thing is that, yeah. So I think it would really depend on if they're reaching out to people or not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. The first sentence is obviously wrong since actions by the masses, a big strike, for instance, is more important than parliamentary activity at all times. And not only during a revolution or in a revolutionary situation. This obviously untenable and historically and politically incorrect argument merely shows very clearly that the authors completely ignore both the general European experience, the French experience before the revolution of 1848 and 1870, and the German experience of 1878 through 90, etc.
So in both those instances, like the working class had like there was like the Paris Commune that lasted for like 2 weeks, and then maybe not 2 weeks, but a little longer, but 2 weeks, and then it just got swept away by the bourgeoisie.
Wasn't it like 2 years or something, like 3 years maybe? Or was it less than that?
I don't know. Actually, I'm just going to say that it's 2 weeks. Fair enough too. Marx wrote a good like dissection about the Paris Commune, so just read his, and I'm going to say it's 2 weeks. And the same thing happened in Germany. And so, but in Russia that didn't happen. They kept it for like 70 years. So
70 years.
Yeah. And China. Wait. DPRK may have 1948. What year? What's 1948? Has the DPRK lasted longer than the Soviet? Wow. Okay. Yes, it has. That's amazing. Okay.
Okay. Where am I at?
China will soon last longer than the Soviet Union. But Lenin predicted this too, by the way. We have a clip about how Lenin said China is going to be liberating the whole world.
Well, I hope so.
No, like Lenin literally said that. I can show you that clip where Lenin said it is China that's going to liberate the whole world. The proletarian of the oh my God. There is no fucking anti-blackness. Oh my fucking, I'm sorry. Liberalism is the highest. Okay. Do you know, like, do you associate blonde hair and blue eyes with black people?
No.
Okay. So if Lukashenko said blacks with blonde hair and blue eyes from Germany will be invading us. Is he talking about Nazis, as in black shirts, or black people?
I don't know.
Well, yes, you do. Okay. Who
Black
invaded
shirts? I mean,
Russia?
the black-
Who invaded Russia in 1940? That was like really bad.
The Nazis.
Black people or Germany?
It was Germany.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's trying to fearmonger, saying blacks with blonde hair, blue eyes from Germany, those were his exact words. Is he talking about black people or Germans?
Germans, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways,
somebody on Twitter, like
no, somebody on my YouTube channel. I sent it to
God.
Janet. Janet, look at this.
It's just so silly. It doesn't even make sense. Like, that's funny.
Okay, sorry. Liberalism is the highest
I
standard.
understand what you're saying about black shirts being this.
Well, no, I mean, there's no way. Like I said, he says it's like, no, not every country. Okay, so let me see. Where is the one where Lenin says China liberates everyone? Let me find that clip for you. Found it. Okay, Janet. Let me share this. Let's play this just as a promo from a previous episode. Sent it to you, Janet. This is a really weird cell, though. I've never done it without looking at the guest, but okay. This actually is not working too bad.
Good. I'm glad that it's going.
I have a real camera now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just have like a little silly webcam.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
An advanced Europe will raise a cry about civilization, order, culture, and fatherland. It will set the guns in motion and, in alliance with Yuan Shikai, that adventurer, traitor, and friend of reaction, crush a republic in backward Asia. All the commanders of Europe, all the European bourgeoisie are in alliance with all the forces of reaction and medievalism in China. But all young Asia, that is, the hundreds of millions of Asian
Billions now?
right,
Go ahead.
has a reliable ally in the proletariat of all civilized countries. No force on earth can prevent its victory, which will liberate both the peoples of Europe and the peoples of Asia. You know, man, I hope this is true. Because, I don't know. The proletariat of all civilized countries, AOC is talking about Uyghurs and China. And
but Lenin didn't consider US a civilized country.
That's fucking funny.
Okay, so yeah, he actually predicted that China was going to be liberating everyone.
Well, get to it, please. Let's go.
Yeah. So
they have been doing some fun stuff lately.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Belt. I don't. Oh, okay, we can't get sidetracked on the Belt and Road. But check out my YouTube streams on the Belt and Road, and so that we don't go off topic.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Okay. Shit. Where was I at? Okay.
I forgot to.
This question is of immense importance, both in general and in particular, because in all civilized and advanced countries, the time is rapidly approaching when such combinations will be more and more,
Yeah, will become more and more and has mandatory.
Oh, okay. Mandatory on the party of the revolutionary proletariat, inasmuch as civil war between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie is maturing and is imminent. And because of this savage persecution of the communists by Republican governments and bourgeois governments generally, which resort to any violation of legality, the example of America is edifying enough. True. The Dutch and the lefts in general have utterly failed to understand this highly important question.
Yep.
The second sentence is, in the first place, historically wrong. We Bolsheviks participated in the most counter-revolutionary parliaments, and experience has shown that this participation was not only useful but indispensable to the party of the revolutionary proletariat.
Well,
After the
hold
first,
on. So basically, the Tsar made up a fake Duma in 1905, and he dissolved it within a few months when they disagreed with him. So, like, that was invaluable in showing that, okay, there can be no.
like, they're just going to change it no matter if
Yeah,
if you do win, they're going to fucking change the rules, right?
Exactly, like they did with that lady in Buffalo. Oh, and also, or that guy in Buffalo, I can't remember. And then like they didn't let Vic Berger, who was a socialist congressman from Milwaukee, sit.
Nice. That's freaking great.
In the second place.
In the second place, this sentence is amazingly illogical. If the parliament becomes an organ and a center, in reality, it never has been and never can be the center, but that is, by the way, of counter-revolution, while the workers are building up the instrument of their power in the form of the Soviets. Then it follows that the workers must prepare ideologically, politically, and technically for the struggle of the Soviets against the parliament, for the dispersal of a parliament by the Soviets. But it does not all follow that this dispersal is hindered or is not facilitated by the presence of a Soviet opposition within the counter-revolutionary parliament.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of funny because this is more or less what the NED does. What they do is they set up like shadow versions of government, and then they go kill the regular government officials and then take over. But Lenin is suggesting to use this idea for good, if that makes sense, as opposed to imperialism.
Like Blankism?
I don't know what Blankism is.
It's like a...
But this is how the NED works, basically, is that they have shadow governments, and then once they have enough of them around, they'll just literally go and kill, like, as in like the Contras, you know, like they like beheaded and just like they just go kill, like, in the most brutal manner, like anyone who is even remotely connected to the government. And that's how
in the course of our victorious struggles.
I don't know why I mentioned this. Okay. But anyways, go on.
Sorry. In the course of our victorious struggle against Denikin and Kolchak, we never found that the existence of a Soviet and proletarian opposition in their camp was immaterial to our victories. We know perfectly well that the dispersal of the Constituent Assembly on January 5th, 1918 was not hampered, but was actually facilitated by the fact that within the counter-revolutionary Constituent Assembly, which was about to be dispersed, there was a consistent Bolshevik as well as an inconsistent left socialist revolutionary Soviet opposition. The authors of these are engaged in muddled thinking. They have forgot the experience of many, if not all, revolutions, which shows a great usefulness during the revolution of a combination of mass action outside the reactionary parliament with an opposition sympathetic to, or better still, directly supporting the revolution within it. The Dutch and the lefts in general argue in this respect, like doctrines of the revolution, who have never taken part in a real revolution, have never given thought to the history of revolutions, or have naively mistaken subjective rejection of a reactionary institution for actual destruction by the combined operation of a number of objective factors. Mm-hmm. The surest way of discrediting and damaging a new political, and not only political, but idea, is to reduce it to absurdity on the plea of defending it. Mm-hmm. For any truth, if overdone, as Dietzken Sr. put it, if exaggerated.
One second, I don't know who Dietzken Sr. is, so let me just look that up. Like sometimes I think like people don't even engage in this level of like curiosity, like where they. Okay, Joseph Peter Joseph Dietzken was a German socialist, philosopher, and Marxist. And Joseph was born in Blankenberg, blah, blah, blah. And he died in 1888 in Chicago. Oh, wait. Is that where he died? Yeah, he died in Lincoln Park when he was having a political discussion in a vivacious and exhausted manner about the imminent collapse of capitalist production. He stopped mid-sentence with his hand in the air, dead of paralysis within the heart. He is currently buried at the Waldheim Cemetery in Chicago, a few feet away from the Haymarket martyrs.
Damn.
Okay. So that's Joseph Dietzken. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, we went over the Haymarket murders on Labor Day.
Nice. Not that nice, the murders, but went over that.
we talked about the Pullman strike and all that. That's what we do at the Red Army. We could talk about that later. If exaggerated or if carried beyond the limits of its actual applicability, can be reduced to an absurdity, then it is even bound to become an absurdity under these conditions. That is the same kind of disservice to the Dutch and German left are rendering, or that is just the kind of disservice the Dutch and German left are rendering to the new truth of the Soviet form of government being superior to bourgeois democratic parliaments. Of course, anyone would be in error who voiced the outmoded viewpoint or in general considered it impermissible, and all in any circumstances to reject participation in bourgeois parliaments. I cannot attempt here to formulate the conditions under which a boycott is useful, since the object of this pamphlet is far more modest, namely to study the Russian experience in connection with certain topical questions of international communist tactics. Russian experience has provided us with one successful and correct instance, 1905, and another that was incorrect in 1906 of the boycott by the Bolsheviks. Analyzing the first case, we can see that we succeeded in preventing a reactionary government from convening a reactionary parliament in a situation in which the extra parliamentary revolutionary mass action strikes in particular was developing at great speed, when not a single section of the proletariat and the peasantry could support the reactionary government in any way. And when the revolutionary proletariat was gaining influence over the backward masses through the struggle and through the agrarian movement, it is quite obvious that this experience is not applicable to present day European conditions. It is likewise obvious, or quite obvious, and the foregoing arguments bear this out, that the advocacy, even if the reservations by the Dutch and the other lefts of refusal to participate in the parliament, is fundamentally wrong and detrimental to the cause of the revolutionary proletariat.
Correct. I don't know what more to say.
In Western Europe and America...
This is the last paragraph, I think.
Yeah. Okay. There's one more, but it's tiny.
Yeah, okay.
In Western Europe and America, Parliament has become more odious, the most odious of the revolutionary vanguard of the working class. This cannot be denied. It can be readily understood, for it is difficult to imagine anything more infamous, vile, or treacherous than the behavior of the vast majority of socialist and social democratic parliamentary deputies during and after the war.
World War I. Yep. But notice something about Western Europe and America that, anyways, okay. Go ahead.
It would, however, be not only unreasonable, but actually criminal to yield this mood when deciding how this generally recognized evil should be fought. In many countries of Western Europe, the revolutionary mood, we might say, is a present, a novelty, or a rarity, which has too long been vainly and impatiently awaited. Perhaps this is why people so easily yielded to that mood.
So, okay. Well, he's right. So at the, like, when the World War I ended, I swear to God, I said this like again earlier today, but I could be wrong. Well, what happened is, like, people saw the Bolsheviks. The Austria-Hungarian Empire collapsed because, like, all the Yugoslavian soldiers were like, yeah, no more. We're going to check out. Bye-bye. We're going back home to Croatia. And so at that point, like, in the East, actually, because things really sucked there were like quite a few sparks of Soviets kind of coming up. There was the Bela Kun in Hungary, Bulgaria. But the thing is that Marx and Engels theorized that if you have capitalism go on for enough cycles, what'll happen is that it'll empty out the countryside and you'll have a big urban proletariat. And then when you have a big urban proletariat in like a small quarters with the bourgeoisie, they can just go bang, bang, bang. Well, so everyone was expecting, like, all the socialist theorists were like expecting someplace like Germany or England to have the first socialist government, because Russia didn't even have capitalism. It was like pre-capitalist. I mean, had a little bit of capitalism, but it was like feudal, mostly like there were 100 million rural people and about 2 million urban people, maybe, if that. And so so then when Russia had its revolution, all these like Western European people thought, like, okay, time's right for us to have this revolution. And Lenin's like, no, that's not going to happen. It's a novelty or a rarity for you guys. Because you're getting all that like imperial gravy train.
Certainly, without a revolutionary mood among the masses and without conditions facilitating the growth of this mood, revolutionary tactics will never develop into action. In Russia, however lengthy, painful, and sanguinary experience, experience has taught us the truth that revolutionary tactics cannot be built on revolutionary mood alone. Wait, are you saying we can't build a revolution off vibes?
Nope.
Wait, what? That's what like people are fucking saying. They think that these like one more spontaneous movement and we'll have like socialism will be ushered in, but
not in America. No. But on top of it, like, okay, they have the FBI, the CIA, military, nuclear weapons. There is no way any spontaneous. Okay, Noam Chomsky is the worst offender of this. He always thinks like a real revolution will happen spontaneously. That's kind of like, oh, okay.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm going to like break an egg and it'll spontaneously reconstitute itself after we break an egg. Will that do that? No. Eggs can't spontaneously reconstitute itself after you break the egg. The idea is you make an omelet by breaking the egg over like the proper pan. How do you make an omelet? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I put mine in a bowl first and then I mix it up.
Oh, okay, whatever. You have to break it up. But you can't like just like break an egg and like
and put it back.
Yeah. That's like about as ridiculous, because you're not to like for the proletarian to randomly like self-organize into a revolutionary government is ridiculous. And no amount. In fact, that's why I even like don't think Americans should be protesting, because protests are not like spectacles and nothing has happened. So you should be like reading Lenin and not protesting and figuring out what exactly is the problem. What is to be done, instead of like just going out in public and holding signs.
Well, wouldn't you think that, or what about the process, like?
Okay. So how many people are getting killed? What has changed? Nothing. So, I don't know if it's worth it at this point.
What do you think about these Medicare for All marches that they're trying to do?
Those are, is anyone getting killed there?
I don't think so. I think they're
Okay.
just like
Okay, that's
having like a 40 statewide.
Sure. Whatnot.
Thing, I don't
Okay.
know.
I don't see that. It's just
They
like,
can do it, right? Like, I don't know.
whatever. I don't think it makes much of a difference, but whatever. Like I'm talking about like the ones where like the Occupy Wall Street, the Black Lives Matter, like a lot of them, like, okay. So a lot of them are based on the idea that if you just make your government upset, like if the government knows that you're upset, they're going to react. But that was when the Soviet Union was alive, not anymore. The government doesn't care. So you expressing your disapproval is going to make them just like tear down the guns.
Right.
So
they're going to be like, oh my God, we feel so bad. You're right. We will make things better.
They won't. Like, look at how many Ferguson activists were killed.
Right.
And so I just think that I don't know the answer. I think that if more people spend time studying and figuring out the problem, they may be able to come up with better protests or better ways of acting.
How do we get these fucking non-reading fuckers to pick up this book though?
Okay.
Like,
well, you need to have them have real problems. So what needs to happen is China, Iran, Venezuela, Russia need to form a blockade. Cuba need to form a blockade that stops iPhones from coming into the US.
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, until then, probably not. Because the problem is that Americans never had real problems to solve. So they've never been inconvenienced by, well, I know you're going to say, I'm not privileged because I have student loans. Well, you have roads. Afghanistan does not have roads. Okay. Anyways, so when you don't have, when these like problems just automatically like take care of themselves, like you never have to figure out how to go fetch water, you're not going to think in a dialectical manner.
Right. Their material conditions are not like hurtful. They're still fine, so they don't have like,
well, not it's fine for enough people in this country to the point where even if it's allegedly not fine for you, there are not enough people who it is not fine for to get that right amount of people to just even understand the problem, let alone solve it. So I don't really, until like the Imperial gravy train gets cut off, like I just don't see anything happening. Yeah.
Right. Well, what do you think about climate change and how that's probably going to, tactics must be based on a sober and strictly objective appraisal of all the class forces in a particular state and of the states that surround it and all of the states the world over, as well as the experience of revolutionary movements. It is very easy to show one's revolutionary temper merely by hurling abuse at parliamentary opportunism or merely by repudiating participation in parliament. It is very easy, however. It's very easy. Okay,
it's very easy.
It's very ease. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, ease. However, cannot turn this into a solution of a very difficult problem. It is far more difficult to create a really revolutionary parliament in a European parliament than it was in Russia. That stands to reason, but it is only a particular expression of the general truth that it was easy for Russia in the specific and historically unique situation of 1917 to start a socialist revolution. But it will be more difficult for Russia than for the European countries to continue the revolution and bring it to its consummation.
Yep, because all these imperial psychos are like...
See, I don't know why the fuck people like link this to me and they're like, see, this proves that we should participate in...
It does not prove anything.
Third party revolution. Like
no. Third parties don't do shit. Okay, if a party is not Marxist, okay. So far, in the history of revolutions, every party that has succeeded has been Marxist-Leninist, and no party that has not been Marxist-Leninist have ever succeeded. So, like I said, your Green Party is not immune from capitalism, and they'll be just as bad. Just
Right.
And so what you have to do is you don't understand if you think third parties, you don't understand the problem thorough enough, and you are fooled by constitutional illusions, which Lenin calls, like the belief in the existence of a judicial constitution when none really exists. Counterpoint, for example, is the fact that there's like literally nothing the president can do that actually can make him quit. So you don't,
Right.
And so you are.
There are no fucking checks and balances. There is no way for
nothing. Nonsense.
Yeah.
But so that's why you need to just I would if somebody says something about third party, I would say, okay, do you understand how commodity do you understand what first question I would ask is, what is capitalism? And then they're going to be like, oh, that's when people sell stuff. And you're like, okay, nope. You don't even know what capitalism is. Capitalism is large-scale automated industrial production. And the way it works is it just produces a lot of crap. And then it floods the market where it puts the artisans out of business. And then that artisan will be your first proletariat. And then they're going to work like slaves in factories. And then it's going to flood a new market. And it'll keep flooding until it just reaches the globe and impoverishes everyone. So that's what I say. And then so then I just would then tell them that they don't even understand the problem. So why would I take you seriously in being able to fix it when you don't even understand the problem?
I had occasion to point out that this already at the beginning of 1918, and our experiences of the past 2 years has entirely confirmed the correctness of this view. Certain specific conditions is a vis-a-vis the possibility of linking up the Soviet Revolution with the ending as a consequence of the revolution of this imperialist war,
World War I.
which had exhausted the workers and peasants to an incredible degree. The possibility of taking their temporary advantage of the mortal conflict between the two worlds, or the world's two most powerful groups of imperialist robbers who were unable to unite their against their Soviet enemy.
Mm-hmm.
The possibility of enduring a comparatively lengthy civil war, partly owing to the enormous size of the country and to the poor means of communication. The existence of such a profound bourgeois democratic revolutionary movement among the peasantry that this party of the proletariat was able to adopt the revolutionary demands of the peasantry, or of the peasant party, the socialist revolutionary party, the majority of whose members were definitely hostile to Bolshevism and realized them at once. Thanks to the consequence of political power by the proletariat, all these specific conditions do not at present exist in Western Europe. And a repetition of such or similar conditions will not occur so easily. Mm-hmm. Incidentally, a part of a number of other causes, that is why it is more difficult for Western Europe to start a socialist revolution than it was for us.
It's imperial. If you were wondering why imperialism, because the capital needs death squads to do the Jakarta method, which is kill everyone. So in order to get the proletarian to be members of the death squad where they go kill everyone, they need to kind of create a reality for the proletarian where the stupid anti-communist propaganda does work, and they're willing to go kill everything that moves like they did in Vietnam or every other place in the US. So for that, they kind of make it easy to access commodities and whatnot. And so, yes. So the because of that, I don't know what to say. Yeah, he is right. That's why the revolutions have only happened in extremely backwards countries like Russia, China, Cuba, Venezuela, whatever, right?
Right. Incidentally, apart from a number of other causes, that is why. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah, that's right.
That is why it is more difficult for Western Europe to start a socialist revolution than it was for us. To attempt to circumvent this difficulty by skipping the arduous job of utilizing reactionary parliaments for revolutionary purposes is absolutely childish. You want to create a new society, yet you fear the difficulties involved in forming a good parliamentary party made up of convinced, devoted, and heroic communists in a reactionary parliament. Is that not childish? If Karl Liebknecht in Germany and Z. Högland in Sweden were able, even without mass support from below, to set up examples of truly revolutionary utilization of reactionary parliaments, why should the rapidly growing revolutionary mass party in the midst of the post-war disillusionment and embitterment of the masses be unable to forge a communist group in the worst of parliaments? It is because in Western Europe, the backwards masses of the workers and an even greater degree of the small peasants are much more imbued with bourgeois democratic and parliamentary prejudices than they were in Russia. Because of that, it is only from within such institutions as bourgeois parliaments that communists can and must wage a long and persistent struggle, undaunted by any difficulties, to expose, dispel, and overcome these prejudices. The German lefts complain of bad leaders and their party given way to despair, and even arrive at the ridiculous negations of leaders, but in conditions in which it is often necessary to hide leaders underground, the evolution of good leaders, reliable, tested, and authoritative, is a very difficult matter.
Okay, actually, hold on.
Okay.
This is really actually a very profound point. I think I mentioned this to Jen yesterday. So Lenin, Lenin did not smoke. He gave up alcohol. He didn't have sex that often, apparently. Stalin absolutely never masturbated because he slept in a single twin bed for when he was even the leader. And the US had nonstop spies spying on his basement bedroom. He slept in that's what irritated them the most about Stalin, is that it was not an act. He was really, it was not an act. He was really in the middle of it was not an act. He was really just one of those weirdos who just sleeping on twin beds in the basement and reading lots of books.
He's just a nerd.
Yeah. But the reason why is because of all the pressures, the bourgeoisie, the czars, the Tsar had a Okhrana, which is the secret agents of 4 million. And the Okhrana, it's really funny when you read some of the Okhrana agents, they were dogging Lenin in his Munich apartment. And all they had is he walked to the library, got a book, came back home, sat and read the book, turned the book in. He didn't even turn the book in late. And if it's because anyone who was not as prudish, didn't have the weird taste of Lenin, where he didn't like anything that was bad for him. He didn't like meat that much. He didn't like alcohol at all. He hated cigarettes. He exiled smokers. To chimney, actually. And you can see he also only let people have tea during meetings, hot and no alcohol. So because he was such a prude, they couldn't discredit him. So because they were in the secret, good authoritative leaders were forged because of all the things. But when you can just go in public and be I'm AOC, well, you don't have to. There is no natural selection where if you were a sellout, you would your entire group would just all die, and so then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he so that's what Lenin's meaning. Okay. Anyways.
but in conditions in which it is often necessary to hide leaders underground, the evolution of good leaders, reliable, tested. Oh, fucking hell, I read that.
Yeah.
Among in other ways, in parliaments, criticism, the most keen, ruthless.
These difficulties cannot be successfully.
These difficulties cannot be successfully overcome without combining legal and illegal work, and without testing the leaders, among other ways, in parliament. Criticism, the most keen, ruthless, and uncompromising criticism should be directed not against the parliamentarians or parliamentary activities, but against those leaders who are unable, and still more against those who are unwilling to utilize parliamentary elections and the parliamentary rostrum in a revolutionary and communist manner.
Okay,
Only
such pause 1 second. Still more against who are unwilling. So, for example, if somebody has there's a hypothetical congresswoman with a 1 million big Instagram account, what she can do is introduce a lot of troll bills that say like, I don't know, we're just going to have world peace for all, and then trace it through and show how all of them will get pigeonholed. She might get like kicked out from committee. That's good, because she's such a high profile congresswoman that if she does get kicked out of committee, it's going to make such a big deal. It's going to be like earth shattering news. She might get redistricted. That's also even more amazing. It'll show people
right, because it's going to show the opposition to, the like
even the most basic. Exactly. And if she gets some, never mind. Okay, but
do it. Say it.
No.
What was it?
If like the CIA decides to off her, that'll.
I'm sorry, that's just good news for us, sweaty.
Yeah, that's why I refrained from doing it. It'll show us even more the futility. So,
fucking AOC, she's such a useless thing.
Well, no, I mean, she
shows how that you go in on revolutionary language, right? You go in on revolutionary aesthetics, and then you fucking turn immediately.
Yeah, like she cosplays, like she has a way of saying nothing while sounding like it's like imagine if Obama was trying to use socialist language. That's what she does, where she says a whole bunch of nothing. There was just like, let me see if I can find that whole. I call it.
We gotta free the proletariat.
You could do good, Obama. Oh my
God. Thank you.
How'd you learn this?
I just watch him, and I hate watch him a lot.
Okay.
Okay, where was I at?
Okay, let's see. Let me find her word salad, which was the
what did she vote present on something on
I don't even
fucking genocide? What did she do the other day? Arms. I don't really pay attention to her anymore because she's just useless.
The Iron Dome. She
voted president. Funding. Yeah, she voted president.
Hold on, let me find the meaningless. It was so meaningless, but she had let me see if I can find it.
What do you think about the communists trying to use symbols of genocide and imperialism for kind of to try to get more reactionary left-leaning people over
stupid, extremely stupid, because well, let's see,
Jason Hinkle or whatever his stupid name is.
I have not watched him, so I will not comment on him, but I've commented about others. It's okay, no, it's extremely stupid. That's all I have to say. Okay, the reason why U.S. patriotism, is different than patriotism in third world countries, because one is I want to continue. Okay, Andre, she said something so meaningless about organizing. I'm trying to find it. Can you just, give me 1 more minute, Sarah? Okay, I'm trying to find it. Like, it's where she wears this like brown thing on Instagram, and she's like speaking about the word organizing. It's really like it's so painful.
I like how she's like totally like she's going to get people food and stuff, but like her analysis, like just a while ago, one of her things during COVID was she was delivering food
herself.
Yeah, herself. But like, why in this country, like, are you having to deliver food to people? Like, right? You're not able to give these people a correct critique of what's fucking happening. So like,
okay, found it. I found the word salad. Okay, here, Janet.
If you're not critiquing capitalism, you're not doing the right job.
She's not doing anything, to be honest.
No, she's not.
Also end by letting you all know how important your activism is, because without your strikes, without your organizing, without you speaking up and doing what you're doing today, we cannot push for it. It is because you are out there mobilizing that we can point to that organizing and say how bad what they are in fact demanding. And because you are doing the work that we can point to, it allows us to create the political pressure necessary to pushing. Because you all are organizing, they can't ignore it. Because you all are organizing on the outside, they can't ignore us on the inside. So keep doing it.
So she's just like completely shirking herself of like any responsibility.
I don't even know. Okay, watch this one. This one's really funny too. Her theory of change.
We're going to keep going until every worker is protected in the demands that they demand, that they have. So thank you all so much. You all are the front line, and you all are why.
Fight for 15 is fucking ridiculous. Like,
yes, it should not take 10 years.
I mean, the amount that people need is already more. Like $15 is not enough.
Check out our episode about the Lenin wage, but also it should not take 10 years. But okay, now watch this one. This one's really painful because she explains her theory of change.
Oh no.
Okay, this is really funny.
You're okay. I'm sorry.
I'm not here to make grand promises and say that this task force is going to change the world, because that fundamentally does not fit with my theory of change. I don't think that change happens in panels and task forces and rooms with people with big titles. I believe that change happens in the streets, and it happens with everyday people organizing in mass. That being said, I think we also have to sometimes acknowledge the political reality that we're in, which is that Senator Sanders did not win the primary election. And after speaking, and in seeing some of the folks that he was nominating, particularly to the climate task force that I was being asked to be a part of, I didn't know who was being named to any of the other ones. I think one of the things that I saw was a genuine good faith openness in advancing climate policy. I heard an acknowledgement. I spoke with Vice President Biden. I heard an acknowledgement from him and also who he was appointing to this committee.
They acknowledged the shit out of it.
No, yeah, but they're still fighting a cold war with China.
I think that even if we can move it 1 inch, the existential crisis that the climate crisis represents, at this point, we need to exert maximum pressure on the outside, on the inside, while also continuing to organize maximum agitation and organizing on the outside. And so this is not about an inside only strategy. It's about continuing pressure on the inside and actually creating that space and that organizing on the outside.
It's kind of funny to me. I want to just say this, that she on both those videos messed up that inside outside concept.
It's because it's totally meaningless.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny. And then, like I said, how many revolutions have you had? 0. Okay, your theory of change is worthless. I'm sorry.
well, I mean, it's not. Something is changing, and it's not our fucking society. It's her. She's she's turning more Nancy Pelosi, you know, like.
Well, yeah, Slavoj Žižek said this. He said, watch out for AOC. She will be dangerous, but I don't know if he was making a joke back then. I can never tell if he was serious or making a joke, but he turned out to be right, as always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Zizek.
Yeah. Usually like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to see if this so let's finish this up. What time do you have to go to work or something tomorrow morning? Or are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Okay. We're almost done. I know you're sleepy. And thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This is fun. It's nice to read and be able to like bounce back and forth like what we're thinking when we're reading. I also do want to talk about the Red Army.
Of course, we'll talk right after we done with this piece.
Sure.
And Janet can move it to the beginning later or whatever, wherever she needs to move it. Janet's good. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh wait, are we? Did we? Oh yeah, I have like one thing left. Only such criticism, combined, of course, with the dismissal of incapable leaders and their replacements by capable ones, will constitute useful and fruitful revolutionary work that will simultaneously train the leaders to be worthy of the working class and of all the working people, and train the masses to be able to properly understand the political situation and the often very complicated and intricate tasks that spring up from the situation.
Bingo.
Well, that's actually the most like important part of this whole
you
criticism.
Have to train your leaders. Actually, it's kind of funny. Let me just share this one screenshot with you. For those who are like fascism, this is what Nazi Germany said about
20 years of communist propaganda teaches you how to be immune to propaganda. Judging by acts and not by words. As a result of their 20-year experience with the Bolshevik propaganda, the Soviet population has learned not to believe slogans and was inclined to judge the Germans by their actions rather than their words. German occupation policy, the treatment of war prisoners, and forced deportation of workers nullified the effects of their propaganda. Nice. So yeah, we have to fucking train people to not be able to be duped by these build back better and make America great again. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. Like I said, literally what they do is green new imperial, like they're just like wanting to sabotage China from actually being useful. And yeah, exactly. Like not, and the thing is that everything in the US is just a big grift. Like you'll realize that like Graham Elwood also said it. Like, and if you study enough, you'll realize that everything's a lie. So you'll be prepared for it, but that's what you need to be mentally prepared for. So Sal, can you tell us about your YouTube or Twitch? Is it both YouTube or Twitch or just Twitch?
It's on YouTube and Twitch. I am with a group called the Red Army, and the Red Army aims to explore the works, ideas, the struggles of the communists who have come before us in order to inform our movement today. We aim to combat the popular opportunist bastardization of Marxism as communists always have by providing direct analysis of texts that inform us. Yeah, so we are
like an extension of me, like the Late Nights with Lenin.
Yeah, I mean it's basically the same concept.
Except you do more than Lenin, so it's like a good like it's like we're complementing each other. You get your feet wet with Lenin, and then you go to the Red Army to be trained properly.
That's adorable. Like I love that. Okay. But we did the news, so we will give you the shit that they're trying to push on us, but without all the terrible propaganda. And we give a correct material analysis of what's happening, not like whatever they're trying to say, like, is drinking water not great anymore? Should we stop drinking water? Like,
yes, anyone who writes that editorial should be forced to stop drinking water.
Right? So, we discussed like, hey, okay, so our health hasn't really changed, but what has changed is there's water shortages. So right, this is like a fucking manufacturing consent. So we just do stuff like that, and then I also do presentation on like books that I've read. The one that I'm doing right now is a basic course on Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, just to give our people just an introduction on what it is. And we've also been watching How Yukong Moved Mountains, or How It Moved the Mountain, which is about like a look of China during the Cultural Revolution, which is so beautiful to see. God, you've never seen a more democratic and like cool place until you've watched that. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Oh, you would love it. They do a fishing village where the men are teaching the women to now do their own fishing boats, because before that wasn't allowed. And so that was something that the women of that village like really wanted to do, which I just think that's cool. And they were giving them like apprenticeships. And then there is the circus episode, and then the barracks episode where they were talking about, or they were talking with the People's Army, and showing how they lived with the people. Yep. And another cool thing is they don't have like signifiers, whereas like
what's the signifier?
How like upper ranks of the military will wear like patches.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so they don't have that in the People's Army. Yeah, so it was just really cool seeing the way that they did things a little different. Like I like it. You should definitely watch it. How Yukong Moved Mountains on YouTube.
Okay, I will definitely do that. It sounds like a really cool thing. I'm glad you're out there, because we need to be combating bad propaganda. Oh God, it's everywhere. So I'm trying to get we'll put the channel here, follow them on YouTube, follow them on Twitch. And so we have to figure out what is to be done.
Well, we just have to get more people to read it.
That's the first step, yes. And also understand what they read, because they're so, I don't know, oh my God. They're so used to words not having meanings that they like literally, like I've had anarchists like argue like, wait, you're saying that Lenin was a Bolshevik and Trotsky was a Menshevik, but I'm like, yes, there's a difference between a Bolshevik and a Menshevik, and that Menshevik did not want a revolution. By the way, Trotsky didn't apparently, but that's a rumor. I haven't verified it personally. So, I haven't verified it, but I'm willing to believe that.
Fucking Trotsky.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, with that, I guess, thank you so much. This was super fun.
Yeah.
Sorry we kept you so late.
No, it's okay. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So let me know if it sounds like I got the right camera, but I forgot to unmute myself. But now I have both sound and video. So everything is good. Let me see if there are any comments worth addressing. Let's see. Oh, yeah. In the West, what people know as Maoism is like often astroturfed by the Central, whatever, intelligence agency or something. Okay, yeah, don't be anti-Assange. If she is, I would have talked to her about it, but I didn't know. Let's see. It's too, yeah. Oh, by the way, Comrade Zhu will be joining us Monday for the first one. Yes, Greg B. The Bolsheviks had high-ranking people as part of the Tsar. Like actually, it's kind of funny. The Tsar's babysitters actually were Bolsheviks since 1905. So the Bolsheviks were mildly infiltrated, but because of their methods, it didn't work. And the Bolsheviks were able to infiltrate the Tsarist police much better. Let's see. Let's see, anything else that we want to talk about? No, you should debate. It's good for my analytics. You should also share it with others and tell them not to watch other sillier streams where people are like whining about how no one thinks that they're smart or whatever, or how people on the internet are mean to me, or Luna always mean to me, whatever. Oh, by the way, this week we are releasing our interview with Luna Oi, where she goes through about 200 years of history of Vietnam. We go all the way from the French colonial era to post Vietnam, post-war Vietnam to like right now. So it's a nice, it's a really good thing. It's really nice. Good. Greg B said, good God, I listened to one Haas stream and the guy goes insane if his chat disagrees. Wow, what a weirdo. Janet, follow Janet on TikTok. And she has some audio clips of Howard Zinn's book, which is really good. Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Zagreb time, and 9 p.m. China time. Let's see. All parties will be infiltrated. If they're not trying to infiltrate you, you're probably not useful. Like you're getting anything done. It seems like you did. If you, just rewind and you can watch rest of Sal. That sounds like craziness. That just sounds really weird. Don't go to, we don't bully anyone. Well, except we had to ban the topic of whether China is revisionist on our Discord server because it got into too many fights. Let's see. I don't know what this is. Anything else that we need? Yeah, so I like having the camera on. Everyone's really suspicious in my opinion. Oh, by the way, please send money via super chat because I need it. And also, please help me figure out a nice, catchy slogan to make a quick pitch for people to watch it, because not enough people understand why they need to watch our stream, so they don't watch it. Let's see, what else? Oh, do we have to talk about? Oh, this is my sister's bookcase. This is I'm at her house because actually it's my mom's birthday. So yeah. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, people are never nice to each other. That's ridiculous. Yep. Let's see. What else do we talk about? Oh, yeah. What else? I don't know what else to talk about. Oh, yeah, I know. Somebody said that Hakeem on his stream said that the Communist Party of Russia was controlled opposition. Well, the thing is that when there's basically the US and all of Europe waging a war in country, there's no such thing as democracy or whatever you want. Like, there's no procedure that you can set up that actually calculates the will of the people. So the best you can do is keep it stable and stop them from privatizing everything and bringing back child prostitution. So unfortunately, what I noticed is that at least two members, so the higher levels of the party seems okay, but in the lower levels, at least two of them have been like paid by the NED, because one of them was supporting Navalny, which is not something they would do. And then this other lady whose profile I read, it just like brought off all sorts of bells and whistles. And then I checked, and yeah, she was trained by the National Endowment for Democracy. So you can't really have, well, not entirely. I mean, some of them should be criminalized because they are being supported by the National Endowment for Democracy. So, yeah, it's really, so it seems like the US is, so the US seems to have given up on the Apple Party by Navalny, because they know it's a total failure. It's like has less than 1% of the votes. And so now they're trying, let's try to infiltrate every party. And this is because of like, yeah, and so that's basically what's going on. I think that you cannot have a democracy that captures the will of the people when US and Europe have been waging a 100-year war. So therefore, there is no procedure that can be set up that will accurately capture the will of the people that does not allow for US and Europe to take over the country and privatize everything and bring back child prostitution. So as long as that's around, there's nothing that can actually be done to set up a procedure that can capture the will of the people. So you have to take out the main cause of the problem. No, I mean, it's not nefarious, but there are members. The National Endowment for Democracy has infiltrated the party such that there are members of the parliament who are paid by the National Endowment for Democracy, and this is open. This is not for debate, because if you go to the NED website and enter their name, they come up as a scholar or whatever. So this is not something that is debatable because the NED admits to it. And definitely there are at least two members paid by the NED in that party. Like I said, there are two members of one's name is Daria, but I can't remember the other one, but check my Twitter. At least two members of that. So like I said, there is no mechanism where you can actually capture the will of the people without leaving the room open for the US to come and privatize everything and then bring back child prostitution. So it's ridiculous to expect that. And then there is, of course, China, they've been trying that. Now they've kind of changed their tactics. So right now, if you follow Brian Berlektek's channel on the New Atlas, he'll explain this better than me, but the US is simultaneously trying to do a major coup in Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines. And for example, in Thailand, the NED-backed protesters beat to death this young police officer when he was not really doing anything. And let's see. Oh, in Myanmar, the quote-unquote NDI, National Democratic Alliance, they literally bombed a train. And then they've been bombing schools to stop school children from going to school because that would be cooperating with it's like literal Contra tactics. It's horrendous. So And I think they might have tried a little bit of a mini color revolution in it represents that the party has allowed them and has not figured out a way to get rid of them, such that they have run for seats in the government. So if this had been 100 years ago, they would have been killed. Like in 1921, they would have totally been stabbed. Like somebody would have assassinated them. So the fact that this means that there's something wrong with some sort of procedure, some sort of security, some sort of vetting, something that allows this to happen. And so, yeah. Yes, they are lower level, but they still should not be running for a single seat. They should have been assassinated or something like that. No, it is definitely plagued by the U.S. The U.S. government infiltrating them. So it's not something as lame as factionalism. It is something much bigger. It means that that organization might be an enemy. I mean, it's pretty like they didn't get rid. They should have. I mean, China assassinated all the CIA agents, so it should have been something should have happened to them. Maybe not assassinate. I should not be doing this. But at least they should have been gotten rid of somehow. Plant some drugs on them or something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So with that, anyone else have a question or comment or anything like that? In Hong Kong, yeah, the national security law, which we've covered with Angelo on stream here, check that out. He talks about it, but that ended up like banning all the riot parties that were trying to coup. Yeah, the Hong Kong's national security law is one of the best ones. And what you also notice is that whenever the U.S. screams about human rights violation, it basically means you're not letting us win. You're making it hard for us to win, or something like that. No, there's nothing to push away or keep. It's just we don't have that power. We just have the power to observe. And I have observed that there are, like, it's not up to us. We don't have that power. I've just observed these two things. And absolutely not. There should be zero benefit of the doubt if they are supported by the national. If there is even a national, yeah, there needs to be zero. No, because that allows the U.S. to come in, privatize everything, legalize child prostitution. Exactly. They should go further and ban all of them. Anyways, with that, I will head out. Join us probably oh yeah, and then there was this fake union in China. It started with a J, but the U.S. also funded this fake union to protest, like, and there were no like workers. There was just like random college students. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, it should be. Correct, but never mind. I guess it's not possible for people in the West to. Never mind. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. It must be done slower. Yeah, even if it's extra popular, there's just no mechanism in which it doesn't even matter. You just need to, I don't know, like, what do people in the West think they're going to be able to do all the way in Russia with their opinions? It's like nothing. you can observe what was going on and think about it, but there's really nothing you can, besides getting your government, there's really nothing you can do to be useful. Anyways, with that, I'm going to head to sleep. Thank you for joining us, and join us all through this week for various streams, and also check out our new article. I'm also working on a second article. Oh no, don't feel bad. 9 out of 10 times they totally deserve to be arrested if they're arrested in countries under the acts of the US imperialism. Go check the NED website before you feel bad. Yeah. No, seriously, like the other day, I saw somebody promoting some random dude in Hungary as like a leftist candidate. First of all, then all I did was search his name under Andreas something. I searched his name and searched National Endowment, and boom. Oh, speaking of that, actually, this is a good one. So the Nobel Prize winner for journalism is this Filipino newspaper called The Rappler. And if you go to the National Endowment for Democracy's website and look at Philippines, The Rappler is openly listed there. So basically they gave this like snitchy regime change operation the Nobel Prize, which is that weird. Yeah, basically, okay. Wow. So, yep. This is a good consent. I like this. Okay. Well, join us again, and I forgot what I say. Oh, I know. You guys want the old theme back, right?